Escape Velocity, I probably have thousands of hours playing the various incarnations of this game, including fan plugins and clumsy attempts to make my own. So, I was pretty excited to see the Kickstarter for an EVO remaster in the form of Cosmic Frontiers. But as an avid fan of the genre who's been enjoying games like In the Sky quite a bit, I began to wonder if I'd like returning to EVO-style gameplay today. For me, the answer is undeniably yes, and I want to articulate some of my thoughts about Cosmic Frontiers, where it can improve, what it should maintain from the original series, and so on. If you're concerned this is an elaborate advertisement for Cosmic Frontiers, well, you may be right. I've tried to group my comments into three main topics: graphics, gameplay, and scenarios. On the graphics front, there's no denying that In the Sky and other recent games are ahead in this category. In the Sky's beautiful spacey backgrounds with nebulas and stars are incredible to look at, and I still remember falling in love with the game the first time I saw them. The UI is also very sleek, with the streamlined controls for viewing ships, outfits, mission availability, and clicking on a system to instantly give you an optimal route. The EV games have elements of these features, but they're just not the same. I'd love to see Cosmic Frontiers leverage some of these enhancements. That said, there's an area where I feel In the Sky is a bit behind, which is ship graphics. And In the Sky, ships are single rotated images. But Escape Velocity uses sprite sheets. This was originally to reduce resource requirements, but it allows for more dynamic ship effects. In EV and EVO, this meant the appearance of a single light source as ships turned. EV Nova added lighting and engine layers to give a very detailed 2.5D experience. Support for animations is appearing in the Sky, but I still feel like it's missing something with the rotated image approach. Gameplay differences are more subtle than graphics, but these are some of the most important ones to me. Now there's a lot the same: elements of trading, combat, the small missions, and bigger campaigns which allow you to choose your faction. But there's a lot different too. For instance, I like how In the Sky gives you a choice of ships at the start, but I also dislike having to immediately start paying off that loan. It gives a sense of urgency to start trading, whereas EV has a degree of freedom to explore and earn as you choose. I also think In the Sky has a little too much ship and fleet management. It can be overwhelming dealing with the different power cores and all the various thruster upgrades, especially when they seem very similar. So for me personally, it's a complexity that's more of a distraction. That's also why I think that having unlimited fleet sizes changed the feel of the game, especially when it comes to combat. I have very fond memories of EVO in particular, building up my own ship and engaging in dogfights with pirates and renegades to make money. You can have fighters and escorts, of course, but the numbers are more limited. For that matter, the balancing and combat mechanics are different. The original EVO was meticulously balanced, which made the skirmishes and battles seem very believable, but I've never been as satisfied with the ship balance in In the Sky. Part of that is how the combat system works. In EV and EVO, combat was based off of attacks in waves, so large ships would pass by each other and then come about for another round, same with fighters. But EV Nova and In the Sky use more of what I consider a clustering strategy that clumps around your ships and they don't really move. This is certainly a good attack if you have maneuverable ships, but not all ships should be so maneuverable. I think attacking in waves and coming about with different passes is more similar to modern naval and aerial warfare. And in conjunction with the dynamic ship graphics, it gives a sense of real weightiness to these ships and the combat. To be fair, EVO did have a version which modified the AI to use this clustering strategy. I find it completely throws off the balance. Just look at how my poor carrier fares against enemy fighters between the two versions. I hope at the very least that Cosmic Frontiers will have support for different strategies so that different factions can employ them, or scenario designers as desired. And that brings me to the last point about scenarios. All the games in this genre do a good job creating large universes with their own races and factions and ships and styles that really give you a sense to explore, that it's just engrossing. I love In the Sky's enormous galaxy with the many different mission strings and support for whole new galaxies in the same game. But EV and EVO are a bit of a smaller scale, and I think they strike a perfect balance between too much content and too little. Peter Cartwright's EVO story in particular, with humans versus aliens and the renegades in the Strand War, has just enough going on that I want to explore it all, but it doesn't overwhelm me. EV Nova, on the other hand, has really expansive campaigns, but they're a little too much for me. The real gems are the custom games, though. In the Sky uses a text format for everything, and alongside some editors, there's been some fan plugins to expand the game and add new content, but EV spawned a huge modding community. There are many editors just for the purpose of escape velocity plugin building, and there are literally thousands of plugins spanning over 20 years of content for the various EV games. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Tim Miles' Empire series and Empire vs. Rebel story that branches into mystery and pure sci-fi fun. But there are many others like F-25, Frozen Heart, and so many more that could basically be popular games in their own right, but they're freely available through Escape Velocity's engine. And that brings me back full circle to advertising Cosmic Frontiers Kickstarter. As one of the stated goals of the project is to support Eevee's scenario format, this game will essentially be a remaster for all the Eevee games, including these thousands of third-party plugins that were made for them. I'm really looking forward to finally being able to play all this content on modern computers without the use of emulators, and I think Endless Sky, similar games, and the players will all benefit from this vast collection of energy, creativity, and fandom, both old and new, that will be coming to this genre. Those are my main thoughts on Cosmic Frontiers. I know this is not a comprehensive analysis of EVO and subsequent games, but I wanted to hit those highlights, at least to me. I am planning to do a live stream for the original Escape Velocity Override, so for those of you who are curious to see a little more about that game, that'll probably be in the next week or so. I'll put the details on the screen and in the description, so I encourage you to check that out. In the meantime, I would say definitely take a look at the Kickstarter and see if you're interested and consider backing it. But having said all that, I will sign off, and as always, thank you for watching.